everybody's talking about who isn't on this variety cover that's highlighting the pit. And this goes way deeper than just some of the cast missing in this photo. This is about how black and brown women keep getting erased in Hollywood and beyond that too, even when the spotlight is supposed to be on them. And this is something we consistently see, and this variety cover is just another example of it. And it honestly makes me feel some kind of way because with our current political climate, this is just extremely important, and we're going to break down why that is. So what exactly happened with this cover? Let's get into it. So there was a variety cover where Issa Briones, Catherine Lanaza, and Taylor Dearden were on the cover. Sorry if I butchered any of those names. Fans of the show noticed that the cover was looking a little pale and that a lot of the black and brown cast was not being featured here, which was really just in your face because there's a lot of actresses that had very pivotal roles in the show that were just absent, especially when it comes to Tracy Afacher right here, who was Dr. Collins in the show and just played an extremely important role in this show, in the Pitt season 1. But all of these actresses were not present on that cover, which is just such a problem, right? And the reason Variety gave for not featuring these women was just a shame. So the reason they gave was right here. It says, that's why it's important to note that while Lanasa, Briones, and Dearden are on the cover of this issue, they're representing all the women of the pit. We simply didn't have the room for all the talent on this show on our cover. They didn't have room, really. And whatever opinions you have on this, please leave them in the comments, or even better, join our Discord because we love having deep conversation in there, and I would love to have y'all in there. This user on Twitter here at Sam Tears pointed out other covers where they had plenty of people on here. One with BTS. Right here, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on here. You got all the Kardashians on here, so not enough room. Please, come on. So people are 100% right here to be justified in their anger and their sadness, all of that, because representation matters. And it's wild that in this political climate we're in, talking about diversity and talking about representation has once again become shunned. It's wild how much progress we were making when it came to representation and diversity and all of that, and how far we've fallen in such a short period of time, where we're starting to see already in shows, since we're talking about shows here, we've already seen in shows how there are less and less black leads and black women leads specifically too. I wish I had receipts for what I'm talking about. It's definitely a thing. I've seen posts about it. I just haven't kept the receipts. It's definitely something that we're already seeing with this administration and all and everything they've been doing when it comes to the rhetoric around DEI and everything like that. We're kind of already seeing an effect in the media already. And it's only been I'm recording this June 14th. So it's only been like 5 months, not even 5 months since this administration came in. And, that's where that's why these women getting left off this magazine is it's just so much more than just a magazine. When you talk about things like anti-blackness, right? It's not something that just affects Hollywood, obviously. This is something that the rhetoric of it leads to voting in someone like the person who's currently president, right? That type of rhetoric plays into all of it, plays into harm, plays into lost opportunity, plays into fascism, like all of it. So this moment here where the Pitt cast, where the black and brown women didn't get on this Variety magazine, is a microcosm of a much larger issue that we are facing right now, right? And even with Variety magazine specifically, this isn't even the first time recently they've gotten in controversy when it comes to covering black people, because how they covered the movie Sinners, shout out to Sinners, amazing movie, how they covered that was also tinged in racism. Variety had made this tweet about Sinners right when the movie came out. It says, Sinners has amassed 61 million in its global debut. It's a great result for an original R-rated horror film, yet the Warner Bros. Release has a $90 million price tag before global marketing expenses, so profitability remains a ways away. Let me tell you why this right here is just framed in racism and anti-blackness, okay? First of all, This movie overshot projections by a long time. So this headline should have been something positive, but they wanted to flip it into something negative. Why? Right? Why would they want to do that? Think about it. Secondly, no movie ever is profitable after their first weekend. That's not even newsworthy to say that it's a long way from being profitable. That's for damn near every single movie that ever comes out the first weekend. No one makes that budget. They didn't have headlines like this for Mission Impossible. You know what I'm saying? They didn't have headlines for this for any type of summer blockbuster outside of Variety, right? Outside of Sinners, I mean. And it's funny because Variety had to eat those words because Sinners became the top grossing original live action film at the domestic box office in the last 15 years. And so this is nothing new for Variety. I also saw this part right here. This user said, just found out that the person who put the Variety shoot together was the same person who moderated the FYC panel and didn't ask Tracy a single direct question. Hashtag noticing. So this behavior, this is not something new when it comes to Variety. Okay, this is something that unfortunately seems to be a pattern of behavior. By the way, if you like breakdowns like this and these insights and talking about the deep things that matter behind all this, go ahead and give a like and subscribe so more videos like this can show up in your feed. And let's go back to the bigger issue as to why this is so important, right? On a large cultural level. With all of the conversations that have been happening recently about things like DEI and all of that, right? And how it seems like if you're to include people that aren't white in anything, that they're it's like there's this assumption that they're not there based on merit, that these companies are just trying to hit a quota. And it's almost getting to the point now where culturally it's better for companies to not feature black people, to not feature people of color, because it's becoming this thing where it's causing backlash to have diversity now, right? And companies have to stand against that, right? Because what's truly artificial is when you have all white people on something, because that is choosing white people over everybody else, because the reality is the world is diverse. You have to willingly not include people in order for, black people, for people of color to not be included in these things. It has to be a choice. You know what I'm saying? So that's the actual DEI as far as when it comes to things not being merit based, are all these nepotism, mediocre people that get in these spots, right? Because they want to intentionally not include really hard workers in everything like that. You know what I'm saying? So that's the real issue we have here. And we cannot have this tide, this wave come where it's then we just lack all the representation and go back to a place that we were in not that long ago. You know what I'm saying? We have to not allow that to happen, especially in this political climate. We need to fight against that with everything we have. So even though this is simply a magazine cover, when things like this happen, we have to use our voices to make people aware that this is not cool. This is not okay. This is not going to happen. We're not going to let this happen, which I have to give credit to Issa here, who made this post. And I brought this up before, but I didn't read the post. It says, of course, I'm pinching myself that I'm on a cover of a magazine and so grateful to represent this show. But the black and brown women of this cast make the Pitt what it is. So honored to be among these incredibly talented women. I got to give Issa credit for this. This is important. I'm glad she shouted out her whole cast. You know what I'm saying? There were also people mad at this because people felt like she only did this because there was backlash happening. Which, whatever. I still think regardless, it's a good thing she made this post. Something that I wish happened so that this wouldn't have happened in the first place is whoever booked the shoot, the PR, whoever's in charge of that. I don't really know the ins and outs of that. I feel like they should have pushed, you know what I'm saying, for everybody to be in the photo. And even the actresses that were in the photo, they could have called it out. You know what I'm saying? I feel like things could have happened for this not to have happened in the way that it did. You know what I'm saying? Like things could have been said before. You know what I mean? I don't know why that didn't happen. And so I feel like media outlets, right? Media outlets need to do better, because just including who should be included is going to be a form of resistance moving forward in our current climate, which is just absolutely unbelievable to say in 2025. I can't even believe I'm saying that, right? And I feel like people from, if we're talking shows, if we're talking Hollywood specifically right now, co-stars, people that are working on things, directors, producers, all these people need to make sure that they're having the proper representation in the art itself, but also in the media, in the promo. Make sure people of color are also front and center. It is going to be so important to do it right now, because people are going to want to just go back to how it used to be. And there's going to be pressure to leave people of color out of things again, and we can't have that happen, right? And us as fans and creators and people that have platforms, like, we need to celebrate representation again. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's on us to like put that wave out there and show that we'll support it with our voices, with our wallets, you know what I'm saying? And then also, when people are left out, we got to speak on it all over again. I feel like there was a moment in time where we were able to put our foot off the gas because we started seeing it going in the right direction, right? The momentum was going in a good way as far as representation goes, but the momentum is going in the complete wrong direction now. Okay, so let's do it. Let's do it again. Let's push it. Let's get this going once again. We gotta apply pressure when people are getting left out of these platforms, and we gotta celebrate when these platforms are putting people on. We can do it, all right? But shout out to the Pitt cast. Shout out to the Pitt. Love the Pitt. And going into award season, I hope all these women get the credit they deserve, because all of them were so amazing in the Pitt. And yeah, I'm hoping for the best moving forward. So go ahead and leave your thoughts in the comments, and even better would be to have this conversation in the Discord so we could go back and forth and have a great, deep, insightful talk in there. And also, please give a like and subscribe so more videos like this will show up on your feed in the future. And until next time, I'll see y'all.